Good Friday morning. The Delphi murder trial starts today.
Hear the Vice President's thoughts about the Hamas leader's death.
And see which tennis star is recovering after surgery. Get the coffee ready and open up those eyes. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather.
From Ball State Unified Media, you're waking up with Cardinal Weather, live from the Ball State Weather Center.
Good Friday morning to you. You're waking up with Cardinal Weather. I'm Demar Robinson.
And I'm Max Robson.
Today marks the beginning of the historic Delphi murder trial. Prosecutors are being expected to make their opening statements as the trial begins in Carroll County. Richard Allen, who was arrested in 2022, is charged with the murder of 13-year-old Abigail Williams and 14-year-old Liberty German. Earlier this week, the jury was selected and the last of the jurors were sworn in yesterday. Jurors are being sequestered, meaning their identities are being kept from the public. They're forbidden from watching the news or checking their cell phones. The landmark trial is expected to last a month.
Ball State has a lot in store for the future, according to a long-term project. Newslink, Indiana's Kamara Munn reports.
Ball State's strategic plan for 2040 is in action on and off campus. Destination 2040, our flight path, is a long-term project to prepare students for the future while strengthening community and campus engagement. This project consists of 5 goals that relate to innovation, scholarship, undergrad, and graduate education. Each year, strategic imperatives are put in place to be executed by the end of the school year. This year, President Mearns and his planning committee are conducting forums for more input about the plan. He believes that receiving feedback is a critical part of the planning process.
And so we wanted to give people, students, faculty, staff, alumni, and others, many opportunities to share their ideas so that when we complete the plan in spring of 2025, everyone feels a part of that planning process.
The most recent forum was held at Muncie Central High School and was open to the public. President Mearns presents his plan through an interactive presentation, allowing participants to share their ideas with one another. Through iClickers, prompts, and conversation, community member and BSU alumni Jenna Ashby feels the forums are inclusive.
The best thing that come out of this plan is that people feel like what they said is represented by what is in the plan. So that when they see it, nothing feels surprising, nothing feels like I don't understand where that came from.
Surveys are another form of feedback that have been used to develop the plan with over 1,400 responses. The next forum will take place on October 24th in the Emmons Hospitality Room. In Muncie, Kamara Munn, Newslink, Indiana.
President Mearns encourages everyone to share their thoughts through these forums. For more dates, visit bsu.edu/calendar. And Demar, I cannot wait for these future updates coming to Ball State here soon.
And speaking of future updates, let's see all the weather there is with Ian.
Yeah, guys, well, I've got a pretty easy job this week, especially this morning. Pretty cool start off the day. 38 degrees in Muncie, 42 in Indianapolis, 36 in Shelbyville. We've had a pretty big 24-hour temperature change for this time of year. 5 degrees in Muncie, 8 in Kokomo, 6 in Indianapolis. So you can see we're starting to warm up as we head into this early start of the weekend. Let's see how those early couple of hours of this day are going to look when you're commuting to work. 41 degrees at 8 a.m., going to spike up to 53 at 10 a.m., 64 at noon, 69 at 2, 71 at 4, and 69 again at 6 p.m. Throughout the rest of the week, you're going to see pretty standard formula. You're going to see high temperatures, some really cool evenings, and dry conditions.
Thank you, Ian. Coming up, hear how Vice President Kamala Harris's thoughts on the death of the Hamas leader.
And that's after your weather now.
Welcome back. The Israeli Defense Forces confirmed yesterday the death of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar. Officials said Sinwar's identity was confirmed through DNA testing and dental records. His body was spotted in the rubble of a building that was struck by an Israeli tank in Gaza early Thursday.
Today, Israel confirmed that Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, is dead, and justice has been served. And the United States, Israel, and the entire world are better off as a result. Sinwar was responsible for the killing of thousands of innocent people, including the victims of October 7 and hostages killed in Gaza. He had American blood on his hands.
Netanyahu said there are no signs that hostages were harmed in the mission that left Sinwar dead. Sinwar is considered the architect on the October 7th attacks on Israel.
We don't even know who will be the 47th president since Election Day is less than 3 weeks away. However, preparations are already underway in the nation's capital for their inauguration. As you can see, riot fencing and barriers have already been erected around the White House. Fencing and concrete barriers are also in place around Lafayette Park. The National Park Service says it is for security and will make it easier for building materials to be delivered and heavy machinery to be stored. Law enforcement sources have told local media that they are concerned that the period between Election Day and Inauguration Day could be extremely tense. They are also bracing for protests, regardless of who will be taking oath of office.
Dolphins are inhaling microplastics according to a new study. For the first time, scientists say that there are harmful particles in the breath of bottlenose dolphins off the coast of Louisiana and Florida. Microplastics are small pieces of plastic that are less than 1/5 of an inch. Previous research found that animals were eating tiny particles and they were present in marine mammal tissues. Airborne microplastics have been found all over the world, even in the Arctic and other remote locations. Researchers suspect that the inhalation of microplastics will affect dolphins' lung health. More information about the study can be found in the journal PLOS ONE. Earlier studies have linked microplastics to the adverse effects on human and animal health. And speaking more on those dolphins being in the eastern coast, of course we just got a lot of storms in that coast. Hopefully the water down there is a little warmer for them.
Yeah, and hopefully we can be able to get all this warm weather, maybe bring also some of it to Muncie here, because I know right now it's cold in the mornings, but I mean it's getting a lot warmer. Yeah. Some of that being able to, but hopefully Ian has something with us for national weather.
Ian.
Yeah, I'd expect some above average temperatures throughout most of the Midwest, so you're going to get your wish, Max. Right now, if you're looking at our national radar, you can see a big whole lot of nothing here in the Midwest. That's because of some high pressure hanging out towards West Virginia and all the way up towards Canada. This belt of high pressure is going to keep us pretty dry over the next couple of days. Right now, 38 degrees, a cool start to the day here in Muncie, 49 in Atlanta, 47 in Kansas City, 53 in Dallas-Fort Worth. We are going to warm up a lot, though, like we were talking about. 73 in Kansas City will be the high, 78 in Dallas-Fort Worth, 67 in Atlanta. Pretty similar pattern throughout most of the Midwest and down towards the south. Our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook above average. You're seeing a high likelihood of above average temperatures all throughout the country, particularly towards our southern region, that those above average temperatures do become more likely. Looking behind me, let's take a look at our current watches and warnings. You can see because of this high pressure here in the Midwest, you're going to see a lot of these winter weather advisories and warnings. Here is your freeze advisory. Here's your freeze advisory. Here is your winter weather warning here in the darker blue. Heading over to the East Coast, you can see this flood watch right here. As out here towards in the middle of the ocean, you're going to see a little bit of activity, some storms pushing potentially some higher waves out on the coast. You see those winter weather watches and advisories continuing. Here you got some flood watches, a flood warning here in Florida. And you're heading out west, you can see this dark blue is another winter weather advisory. This light blue actually different. It is a winter weather watch, I believe. And up here, out down towards the south, you can see a wind advisory here. Here, these mountainous regions, you can see the wind sloping up those mountains. So it's keeping those wind advisories going. You can see we've also had a lot of drought throughout the country. That's going to continue from East Coast to West Coast. It's going to keep going out here towards Texas, Oklahoma. You can see extreme drought conditions in much of the country here towards Rapid City and Casper. Those drought conditions are unfortunately going to continue. If you see behind me, we have a high likelihood of below average rain out here towards the west, 50-50 chance here in much of the Midwest. Our precision cast is going to see us keeping most of that rain out of the Midwest here for the rest of the week. Unfortunately, we're not going to get any rain. We're not going to get out of this drought, but I am very happy to have these sunny skies and a lot of cool evenings too.
You know, I'm not much of a rain fan myself, so I'm not too worried about the rain. I know it might be nice to be able to get that grass a little bit greener, but I'm just happy for warm weather.
Yeah, same. I mean, I think when I wake up in the mornings, it's very cold, very frigid. I know once I leave out here and head out back to my dorm and back to my classes, it's gonna be a little bit more hotter once the sun comes out. But I'm looking forward to a lot of great weather kind of night now because we're gonna winter soon, and I know once it hits winter, it's gonna be tough.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ian. Coming up, see which tennis star is recovering after surgery.
That's after your weather now. Welcome back. The time is 8:13 and you're taking a live look outside the Cooper Science Building. Tennis star Serena Williams is recovering after having a large cyst removed from her neck. The 23-time Grand Slam singles champion posted a TikTok to give an update on the procedure, saying that the cyst was the size of a grapefruit. Williams says that she first noticed a big mass on her neck back in May. After a number of tests, she learned it wasn't cancerous and was given the option to have it removed. Due to the fact that it was still growing, the 43-year-old decided to move forward with the surgery. Post-surgery, Williams says she's grateful and healthy.
There may be less chocolate to steal from your kids this trick or treat and Halloween. Experts say that's because high cocoa prices are driving consumers to purchase more gummy and fruity treats. An analyst at market research firm Circana told the Washington Post that while chocolate still dominates, more teens and middle-aged adults are leaning towards gummy and sour candy because they tend to be less expensive. And there's now a broader range of flavors to choose from. Some examples: Twizzlers Ghost and Sour Patch Kids Apple Harvest Candy. The National Retail Federation expects Halloween spending in general to drop compared to last year's record-breaking sales, with a 5% drop across the board on items like costumes and decor. And you know, with Halloween coming up itself, I'm hoping that the weather's a little bit higher in those later times.
Kiddos getting out there. Of course, Halloween is a couple weeks away. We have 2 weeks under the stretch. So I'm looking forward to probably getting out there with my nephew, maybe trick-or-treating a little bit. But hopefully it is not too cold because I do want to enjoy some outdoor fun.
Oh yeah, and let's see what Ian has to make sure that Halloween's nice.
Well, unfortunately, I don't quite have a forecast for Halloween. We're a little far out for that, but I can get pretty close to homecoming. 38 in Muncie right now, 42 in Indianapolis. Pretty similar conditions throughout most of our viewing area. 38 in Farmland, 36 in Richmond, 32 in Marion, so almost a 4 or 5 degree difference depending on where you're at relative to here in Newslink. Luckily for us, it's going to be a great day here in Muncie. 9 a.m., 39 degrees, clear skies, 58 at noon, 67 at 5 p.m. today. So why is that? Let's talk about it. You can see behind me right here, whole lot of clear skies throughout most of our viewing area. Looking out a little bit further to our east, you can see this belt of high pressure. That's what's going to keep these kind of conditions, there's some rain, continue to push us into a drought. It's going to keep all those clouds out of our area. This cold front out to our west isn't going to reach us because of that high pressure. So that's going to keep our evenings really cool too. Let's look at tonight. 44 degrees will be our low, clear skies, barely noticeable winds at all. And that pattern has continued over the past few days. If we look at yesterday's low, it was 33 degrees, very frigid. I know I experienced it. Our average low is 45 degrees, so we're 12 degrees below our average. Not quite at that record of 25 degrees set back in 1982. It's going to, these patterns, again, going to continue throughout the next couple of days. Looking at our precision cast, you can see it is actually running right now. There's just nothing happening behind me all the way at least through Sunday. No clouds in the sky. Our drought monitor shows us here in Muncie right now, dry conditions. You know, that's the lowest on the drought monitor. But as you head north towards Portland and Marion, in the northern area, you're in that moderate drought, which is next to that severe drought up towards Fort Wayne. I would really like to see some rain over these next couple of days, but unfortunately, I just don't think it's going to happen. Nothing has been showing up on our models to indicate that. Let's look at our precision cast temperatures, see how low and how high we get. 46 in Winchester, 8 a.m. on Saturday, 46 in Muncie. Continuing that trend we've talked about of these warmer days, warming up quite a bit as soon as sunrise starts, getting all the way to 69 degrees for a high on 7 p.m. throughout most of our area, up to 70 in some of our northern viewing area. 8 a.m. on Sunday, 48 degrees, getting in those lows, overnight temperatures in those mid to low 40s, back up to into those low 70s on our Sundays. Looking at our precision cast, you can see it's going to get really dry if we're looking at our dew points. 35 in Muncie, 36, 37. See those very big gaps between our temperatures and our dew points. That means it's going to feel very dry outside, especially with these high diurnal temperature ranges. That's the difference between your high for the day and your low for the day. 72 will be our high on Muncie, 73 on Sunday, 73 on Monday. Clouds start to arrive on Tuesday, 72 degrees. It's going to be cloudy as a front passes through our area, 71 degrees on Muncie on Wednesday. We're just really excited to talk about Muncie today, I guess. But I'm excited. Sunday, I got a date, going to a pumpkin patch.
Congrats.
High chance for not
I
being
did figure out how, October festivities are affected by that.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, thank you, Ian.
Last week, we talked about which movie characters we thought would make the best offense.
This week, however, we're talking about which characters would make the best defense. But that's after your weather now. Welcome back to Waking Up with Cardinal Weather. Last week, I broke down my perfect offense based solely off of movie characters, and I'm back to make my perfect defense. Let's start with the coaches. For my DC, I have Emperor Palpatine. With Palpatine at the helm, nobody will know if a blitz is coming. If he can trick the Jedis, he can trick an offense. He led Order 66, he will lead this squad to 0 points allowed. At our linebackers coach, we have Optimus Prime. Some may want him on the field, but I want him giving the greatest pregame motivational speeches of all time. He knows how to stop an air attack because his main enemy was a jet. Enough with the coaches, though. We need to find the gritty guys to take on the ground game and get pass rush going on the D-line. At defensive end, Master Chief. This Chief will be the D-line captain and be able to fly around the edges with speed and grace. Master Chief is my Reggie White. With D-tackles, I got Tekka and Physique. If anyone is in Tekka's way, they won't be for long because this 300-foot behemoth will close down every gap and burn down the players in its way. Taka is my Vince Wilfork in the middle. Physique will be able to bull rush just as quickly as his counterpart. Physique is basically just Aaron Donald, but better at this point. And at the other defensive end, I have Megatron, who's like Lawrence Taylor. Megatron can quite literally fly past defenders and move with ease through any gap. He can be a QB spy, or he can finesse his way through the line. But with that line, we need a second level of the box with these linebackers. At outside linebacker 1, we have Shrek. You may think he's a slow ogre, but Shrek is sneaky athletic. He found his way to save Fiona and got past that dragon. Shrek will find a way. At middle linebackers, we got Sully and Darth Vader. These are the field generals. Vader made sure his clone army was always ready to move and take on anyone one-on-one. Vader is slow, but he is still the hardest hitter on the field and has the force to stop anyone in the middle. Sully was Uzma Kappa's team captain. He led the ragtag group to beat Roar Omega Roar and will be able to lead this squad to an easy championship. Finally, we have Bane. Although slow, he knows how much he hates football fields because he has blown up one. He has that built-in hatred for the game, so he'll be wanting to get it over with fast. He's strong enough to stop Batman. He'll be strong enough to stop anyone from going outside. Now that we have our Legion in the middle assembled, we need to be able to make sure that the air game is impossible to play against with this secondary. My first DB is Reverse Flash. Reverse is the best speedster to be able to don the uniform and can keep up with anyone. His speed and height will keep him one step ahead of the defender, or of the offense, and will keep the deep ball out of anyone's hands. Tackling may be a problem, but with Reverse Flash guarding, nobody is catching a ball. At free safety, we got Jack Frost. Again, he may have a tackling problem, but he will make anyone slip and fall as he makes the ground turn to ice, especially negating those speedy receivers I put on the offense. He may not jump high, but he can put that staff to use and take any ball out of the air. At strong safety, we have Ultron, who's basically Cam Chancellor if we really think about it. Ultron will bring the boom harder than the Costco guys if anyone comes near his zone. He almost took out the Avengers by himself if Vision wasn't there to stop him. Finally, we have Omni-Man at the final DB. Omni-Man will be able to fly through the field and hit anyone just as hard as Ultron, if not harder. He may struggle with coverage, but even if they catch the ball, one tackle is all it takes to make the opposition fumble. And that is my full movie defense. Coming up, we got your Breaking Down the Science, but that is after your weather now.
Welcome back. Get your frosting fix. Today is National Chocolate Cupcake Day. The cupcake was originally known as the 1, 2, 3, 4 cake as a simple way to remember the basic recipe. 1 cup of butter, 2 cups of sugar, 3 cups of flour, and 4 eggs. In the 19th century, most cupcakes were either vanilla or chocolate. The small cakes have since evolved, and you can get just about any flavor of cupcake now. We're celebrating chocolate on Friday, but you can switch to vanilla on November 10th for National Vanilla Cupcake Day, and other flavors on December 15th for National Cupcake Day. For Friday, you can post to social media with hashtag Chocolate Cupcake Day.
They're adorable, playful, and highly effective diplomats. And now, they're in Washington, D.C. 2 giant pandas from China arrived at their new home on Tuesday. They showed in these huge crates at the Smithsonian National Zoo. And then the 3-year-old pandas got to stretch their legs, munch on some bamboo, and even cool off in a pool. Bo Lee is a male whose name means precious vigor. Bo Lee's mother is a former National Zoo celebrity, and his grandparents lived there for 23 years. His female companion is Ching Bao, meaning green treasure. You'll have to wait a little while to see these cuddly arrivals in person. Zoo members can get a panda preview starting January 10th. They'll make their public debut on January 24th. And Demar, I know one person that is the most excited to be able to see these pandas again, and that is my mom. But the one fear that she has is that it's going to be too foggy to even be able to see them or get over to DC to see them.
You know, fog has always interested me. I never really knew much about fog until probably right now. Here's Rachel with Breaking Down the Science.
Thanks, guys. As we start to see more of this fall weather start to come into play, we're going to start to see a lot more fog. And so there are different types of fogs that all play different types of parts. So depending on where you're at, and depending on the time of year, and depending on the day, fog can be in play anywhere. And so there are actually 3 types of fogs that I want to emphasize, which are radiation fog, advection fog, and upslope fog. So starting out, I want to start out with radiation fog, which is, I want to start out with this one because we typically see this one in Indiana just because we have a lot of flat ground and we have a lot of crops growing around. And so with radiation fog, we typically get this type of fog from the warm sun, from the warm temperatures coming down to meet the moisture within the crops. And then that meets the cooler temperatures at night, creating that little fog. And we've all probably seen this type of fog just because it's literally ground fog, fog on the ground, cloud fog on the ground. The next one I want to talk about is advection fog. And with advection fog, that's more of a thinner type of fog that we typically see. It's when the warmer temperatures kind of start to meet these cooler temperatures. So cooler Pacific Ocean meeting warmer air in this scenario. And with this one, I really wanted to emphasize the advection fog because that means horizontal fog. So you can either name this advection fog or horizontal fog. And I also wanted to show the Golden Gate Bridge because we typically see a lot of fog there, and we see a lot of photographs of fog there. And so, so the next time you're in San Francisco, just think advection fog. And so the next one is upslope fog, and it's literally just its title, upslope fog. And I like to look at it like a blanket of fog rising up a mountain. And so with this fog, you typically see it in the Rockies or the Smoky Mountains, and you can also see it in valley fog. Valley fog with the mountainous theme that we typically see, and valley fog is when colder air typically starts to come in between 2 mountains, so valley, and it creates more of a cold air meeting the moisture, and it creates that fog. And then the next one is evaporation fog, or as I like to call it, steam fog. And that's when colder temperatures kind of start to come up, and it kind of creates that steam that we're used to seeing. So cold with warm creates that steam. So we've probably seen this before. And it doesn't only happen on ground, but it happens in water as well. And the next one I want to talk about is freezing fog, which is snow fog. And that basically happens in the wintertime. And finally, ice fog, which happens in subtropical and Arctic fog areas. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Rachel. And now let's send it over to weather to see what it's going to look like over here in Muncie.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty plain couple of days. Friday's high 67, 69 on Saturday. Sunday, 72 degrees. Get to watch some football. Get to watch Master Chief go after the sack record. 73 on Monday. Clear skies continue. Front moves in on Tuesday. Clouds start to return. 72 will be our high on then. 71 on Wednesday. Sun returns on Thursday with a high of 59 degrees when we cool back down.
Thank you, Ian. And that is all for Cardinal Weather this Friday morning. Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you next week. Have a great rest of your Friday and a fantastic weekend.